Hello and welcome to video 6 in my series Jay Saying Stuff During Lockdown. Been thinking about this lockdown and the fact that now in the UK where I'm at, vaccinations have hit a kind of pace and momentum that it looks as if there is a possibility lockdown could be coming to an end. Don't take my word for it. All of this with a pinch of salt. We've heard lockdowns are ending before, and then they've come back with a vengeance. My point being, my video titles of saying stuff during lockdown may be subject to change, and all I can say is I'll be happy for that. Anyway, welcome to week 6, my 6th video, and thank you for sticking with me, whether I'm talking to myself or to the few viewers who have checked out my videos so far. I think one of the biggest challenges for me since this lockdown has begun really is the inability to flex my conversational muscles with people. And obviously we still get to do that via Zoom, telephone, whatever, but there is definitely a level of nuance and of dexterity even that is lost by not being able to talk to people face to face and being able to try out new ideas, search somebody's face as you're explaining something new to see whether or not that they're rocking with your idea. Or long and short, again, what I'm trying to convey here is I've definitely felt that my vocabulary and my skill in conveying messages via the spoken word has diminished during lockdown, but I think that these videos offer me an opportunity to try and pick that back up. Ultimately, for each week when I'm doing this video, all I do is kind of give myself one key word to start with, and then the rest of the conversation is stream of consciousness, which I then listen back to and see how many times I and and my way through it. But I feel that I'm getting a little bit better. Tell me if I am, tell me if I'm not. Either way, all criticism is good criticism for me, because every single bit of somebody giving you sandpaper is every little bit of them smoothing your edges and you becoming more smooth, more aerodynamic. Fox just ran past outside. I shouldn't be so distracted. Anyway. This week I want to talk about, again briefly, Clubhouse, because it is a new platform which I've now been on actually since the last week of 2020, but I kind of didn't get into it fully straight away, just again because of the pressures of confined living with a very effervescent and noisy toddler who wants to be part of every conversation, whatever they hear. Again, testimony to what I was saying, she also misses seeing people and being able to talk to people face to face rather than throwing in an errant hello on every single Zoom meet or Microsoft Team meeting that daddy is involved in. But Clubhouse has actually been quite a revelation. It has actually brought me closer to some people who have been in my life for a while but never really actually talked on that kind of, or at least not on the level that Clubhouse has provided. Clubhouse, for those of you who aren't aware, is a new audio broadcasting application currently only for iOS, so for iPhones, iPads. But it is about changing the nature of our communication and engagement to pull it away slightly from the visual all the time to the audio, which I think has actually been working wonders, because it means that you don't have to get ready or look a certain way to be participating, or even to be passively participating by listening in on conversations. But the good thing about it is that by listening into conversations, by choosing channels on this new platform, or that suit what it is that you're into, you can kind of tune into some really good conversations that are prescient, really, on the cutting edge of what's going on. So yesterday I got involved in a conversation about what's going on in Tigray, to pronounce it I think a little bit more clearly, which is in northern Ethiopia, where there is another humanitarian crisis happening, in essence, because of a war. And this began last year in November, but it's only kind of coming to public attention now. And similar to like what's happening in India at the moment also with the farmers' protests, it's quite interesting that some of these massive upheavals and humanitarian moments that are happening, and again, not to forget the Yemen as well at the moment, are not been reported by mainstream media or really been talked about in the West at all. And I think this is again that indictment on centralized media, on centralized idea dissemination, really, because it means that the narratives that certain people want to discuss or want to be the topics or the main agenda, like Trump's impeachment, become the main thing. And again, although that is an important thing that's happening there, I would contend that it is more important the lives of the many rather than the decisions and the aftermath of the few. Ultimately, everything that's going on in America within their political system is all a big charade. I mean, the American industrial war complex doesn't change regardless of who sits in the White House. And I think that's something that we often forget as we kind of like look to who is our favorite Democrat, who is our worst Republican, but ultimately their foreign policy and their agenda doesn't seem to change. And I think it is time for us individually to consider what it is that we can do to get involved in those broader conversations, those broader humanitarian conversations, because we are far closer, or at least for myself, I can say this, I am far closer in my personal life status and situation to being a protester in India, to being on the wrong side of war in Ethiopia, or to be even on the wrong side of police brutality in America, than I am to being a billionaire, to being part of the political elite, or being part of the decision-making apparatus who choose what narrative that we get to engage in. So yeah, it's been a week for me to think about a lot of things, but Clubhouse has provided a great opportunity to engage in conversations with people again in a way that does promote real idea sharing. It does promote as well a less aesthetic approach to engagement, because I feel that on my Instagram, even here on YouTube, and on other platforms, even my website, which are very much image driven, a large part of what brings people to me or to other people ultimately is like the aesthetics. And sometimes I just think that sure, there is a level that our aesthetic like matches up to some extent to the rest of our content. We are, after all, like an overall holistic package. However, like I feel to a point that I've made in previous weeks that there was a turning point when marketing became more important than manufacturing. And if you're wondering of the relevance there, it is the fact that now selling yourself is more important than being yourself. And so I think a lot of people now are putting more stock into being salespeople of themselves rather than actual personal development. And I think that's starting to show. And so I think that, yeah, any opportunity or anything that kind of brings us back or gives us at least the leeway to find a way back to personal development rather than personal sales techniques is a good thing. So yeah, that, and last but not least, I just going to want to mention before I just kind of end on this video that next month I will be part of World Water Day, and we will be doing a World Water Day broadcast, which will be happening across Twitch, YouTube, a number of different broadcast channels, and it will be on the weekend of March the 20th, 21st, 22nd. So yeah, I will hopefully be able to feed in more details in the coming weeks about what's going to be happening, but just really excited to be part of something which again is about the paradigm shift towards getting ourselves reconciled with the natural world again, and about remembering that the life that we're meant to be living, or the life that we're meant to be working towards now, isn't about more financial prosperity, but is actually ultimately about environmental and ecological prosperity. And that kind of, again, just ties into justice for all, and all being like all humans, all animals, all living things. So I think, yeah, I will leave it there for this week. Hopefully there's been like some nuggets of benefit within this week's monologue. But I'd also like to just leave you with a quote from James Baldwin, which is kind of struck me, like it kind of really knocked me for six actually. I actually got the quote from James Clear, again from Atomic Habits, in his newsletter. But he, in one of his newsletters this week, a quote from James Baldwin on the difficulty of change. Nothing is more desirable than to be released from an affliction, but nothing is more frightening than to be divested of a crutch. I'll leave you with that, and thank you for tuning in again. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. That's both me and Violet here. And thank you, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, let's leave it there. Thank you. See you next time.